Today we're looking at Magic the Gathering cards that are cheap, but not really. Alright, we're gonna start off with Phyrexian Dreadnought. It's a 1-mana 12/12. You might think that's insane. However, there's a catch. This Trampler, when it comes into play, you gotta sacrifice any number of creatures with total power of 12 or more, or bury the Phyrexian Dreadnought. So absolutely, yeah, it costs 1 mana, but in actuality, you're just gonna sacrifice itself. So is it really that cheap? Well, not really. There's a huge catch attached to this card. So anyway, it's cheap, but not really. Moving on, I have another example. We got the Hypnotic Siren. It's a 1/1 for 1 mana. It's a flyer. But of course, you would never want to play the... I mean, unless you need the enchantment synergy. It is a enchantment creature. It's a siren. However, the real reason you would want to play the Hypnotic Siren is for the bestow cost. For an additional 7 mana, you can cast this card for its bestow cost. It's an aura spell with enchant creature. It becomes a creature again if it's not attached to a creature. You control enchanted creature, and enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. So if anything that looks cheap but actually just has a huge cost to it, that's gonna qualify. I'll even count the cumulative upkeep spells. As long as it's cheap up front, expensive over... We all know how cumulative upkeep works. Gets worse and worse as time goes on. Howdy, I think this is what I think. I already have a card, Simian Grunts. Let's look up Simian Grunts. I don't even know what this is. Okay, we got a green 2 generic 3/4 with flash, but it's got echo. To be honest, I don't even know if this is even worth it by today's standards. Like, today you have, like, what's it called? Endurance? Endurance is just strictly better Simian Grunts. It's also a 3-mana 3/4 with flash, but also can be pitched for free and doesn't have echo and also removes graveyards. Man, this is a really expensive card. Look cheap, but not exactly. Mystic Remora. You guys are all... it's a team effort. Everyone's naming Mystic Remora. But we all know this is going to slow the game down. Alright, it's a 1-mana enchantment with cumulative upkeep 1, so it's really not going to stick around the board for, what, more than 2, maybe 3 turns? But get them soul rings out. Get them out quickly. Whenever an opponent plays a non-creature spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays for it. Make sure you're the first player to get this thing out before everyone else gets their soul rings. So you can draw them cards. So you can cash in on that Mystic Remora. But yeah, it's gonna be goner. Well, like, hold on. Next turn you gotta pay 1. Turn after that you gotta pay 2. Then you gotta pay 3. It might stick around for a little while, but no, not too long. Abe with the super chat. Technically Colossus Hammer. Technically that is correct. That is definitely one of those cards. It looks cheap up front, but then, like, how are you going to get... It's so expensive, nobody even tries to bother with the equip cost. It might as well just say nothing. This is a card, 1 mana, equipped creature gets +10/+10 and loses flying. It might as well have just said, does not have an equip cost, you figure it out. Because nobody equips for 8. I think I've seen it, like, actually come up in a game of Magic maybe once. Where, you know, the Hammer Time player was just flooding out, like, ridiculously. So they're like, alright, we'll just equip. Alright, I don't have anything else to do with my 8 mana. Let's equip something with it. Urza's Rage. That's an old one. It's a 3-mana, uncounterable 3 damage, but for... I don't know why you would need 3 uncounterable damage. But how about this? If it's kicked, it'll deal 10 damage to that permanent or player, and the damage can't be prevented. Whoops. No, that's the wrong. Sorry, wrong sound effect. This definitely qualifies. But the kicker is insane. It's 9 mana. So this thing costs 12 mana to cast to deal 10 damage. It's basically like a little less than 1 It's a little less than 1 damage per 1 mana that you're paying. Alright, next up we got, the Sputnik says, Craftsman made the hammer but never figured out how to wield it. Yeah, they left that to someone else. Old Fogey? Okay, hold on, what's Old Fogey? Old Foggy. Old Foggy, Old Fogey. Old Fogey. This isn't a real card. Okay, green, 7-7. What is this? What is this show turning into? It's turning into Unglued, the live Nikachu MTG, the Unglued. Phasing, cumulative upkeep 1, Echo, fading 3, bands with other dinosaurs, protection from Homrid, snow-covered, planeswalk flanking, rampage 2. They are, for 2 mana, you have a 7-7 with some big downsides. Can only attack once every second turn. You have to pay the cumulative upkeep of 1, and you have to pay an Echo. You might not even get it may not even live to turn 2, as far as I'm concerned. All right, we got King Ginger here with the super chat. Pollutants, World Eater. Pollutants. Polluter. Do we even know what these cards call? What these cards are called? Oh, Polukranos. We have 4 mana 5/5 with Monstrosity. Okay, the Monstrosity can be green and double X. When Polukranos World Eater comes into play, it deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures your opponents control. Each of those creatures deal damage equal to its power to Polukranos. Might even take those things might even take Polukranos down. 4 mana 5/5, not bad, but if you want the Monstrosity cost, it's gonna cost you. Yeah, I think everyone figured it out. Someone. It was a team effort. What does Jacob have to say? Ancient Stone. I should look out for Toads. Toads also said, like, why is no one picking me anymore? I'll pick you out, Toads. Okay, 10 mana for a 12/12 Golem with Flash? Spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature. Trample. When Ancient Stone Idol dies, create a 6/12 colorless construct artifact creature token with trample. This is actually the opposite of the show. This costs a lot of mana, but it's actually cheap. This is like an expensive card that costs less, so this one's absolutely disqualified. It's Toads here. Toads! He's an old fogey. Oh, you wasted your suggestion on that comment, Toads. You gotta be careful with them. Okay, everyone's mentioning Cyclonic Rift. That's a boring suggestion. Everyone knows what Cyclonic Rift is, but we'll get it out of the way. We'll get it out of the system. It's the 2 mana, you know, it's just basically a crappy boomerang. But if you overload it for 7 mana, you're going to bounce everything that all your opponents control. All their non-land permanents. Did Yo, Nikachu, did anyone mention Cyclonic Rift yet? I like that. That's you're a character there. Well, where's our, yeah, there we go. The drum roll. How is Black Lotus? Black Lotus is cheap as it comes and has no downside. Hall of Storm Giants. Is Hall of Storm Giants like the most expensive creature land to activate? Alright, so it's a land. It comes into play tapped if you control like more than 2 lands, I believe. Control 2 or more other lands, Hall of Storm Giants enters battlefield tapped. Add a blue mana. You have to pay 6 mana to turn this into a 7/7 giant with Ward 3. I have activated this card before, only versus some combo decks and some control decks, but mostly it is a land on the battlefield. I've definitely activated Mutavault way more than I've ever activated a Hall of Storm Giants. This card is outrageously expensive to get online. Alright, we got Black Mamba. The Mamba. Would we count Everflowing Chalice? Nah. I don't like Everflowing because you can play it for cheap. Everflowing Chalice. It's got to be like you could play it. I mean, it could be expensive under some circumstances. The multi-kicker can get. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna count it. I'll count it. Under some circumstances, you're gonna play the multi-kicker on 8. Like it can be. It can be for 0, literally, if you just need a random artifact on the battlefield. And it's going to add a colorless for each charge counter on Everflowing Chalice. For every multi-kicker of 2, it gets a charge counter. How often are you guys putting Everflowing Chalice for 8, though? Are we serious here? Black Lotus has a low mana cost, but expensive in doll. No, it has nothing to do with money. It's nothing to do with money. It's all about the mana cost, people. I'm not counting the financial. I'm not counting the financial aspect of any of these cards. Okay, Nikachu. Urza's Factory is the most. Really? Urza's Factory. I think you're right. So this is a land that adds colorless mana. If you pay 7 mana to get a 2/2 colorless assembly worker artifact creature token. That's a lot of mana. You know, Urza's not going to make a profit on these assembly workers. They got to sell them for 8 mana. Who's going to pay 8 mana for a grizzly bear? A colorless one at that. The Urza's going to go out of business really quickly. No wonder he's dead. He didn't do his math straight. That's a good one. Jacob with Asmarano. But it's free. Asmarano costs nothing, but is actually a huge pain to get on the battlefield. As long as you've discarded a card this turn, costs 1. But you have to discard a card or, you know, cheat her out somehow. Enters the battlefield, you may search a library for a card named the Underworld Cookbook, reveal it, and put it in your hand, then shuffle and sacrifice 2 foods. Target creature deals 6 damage to itself. But sometimes you have Asmarano in your hand, you can't even cast her. Can't do anything. She's just stuck in there. The most awkward 0 mana card, or I should say, yeah, 0 mana value card to cast in the game. This is the reverse. That's an expensive card that costs less. Brandon. It seems that this topic is very difficult to interpret, and they're not all easy. All right, moving down the list. Redco. Thank you very much for the super chat. Grizzly Sigil. Hopefully the paid super chats understand what I'm talking about. All right, we have 1 mana. Sorcery, Casualty 1. As you cast this spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power 1 or greater. When you do, copy the spell, and you may choose a new target for the copy. Alright, so hey, it's not free. You gotta sack something with it. Choose target creature or planeswalker. If it was dealt non-combat damage this turn, Grizzly Sigil... What the hell is a Grizzly Sigil? Deals 3 damage to it, and you gain 3 life. Otherwise, Grizzly Sigil deals 1 damage to it, and you gain 1 life. So hold on, you have to sack something? You may sack a creature with power 1 or greater when you do copy the spell. Oh god. So if you want to get extra copies of it, you need to start, you know, paying up with blood, effectively. Okay, Magarger says Progenitor Exarch. Progenitor Exarch. Oh, we got, okay, a white XX Phyrexian Cat Cleric. Well, how handsome they are. Okay, it's a 1/2 creature. When it enters the battlefield, incubate 3x times. To incubate 3, create an incubator token with 3 +1/+1 counters on it, and pay 2, transform this artifact. It transforms into a 0/0 Phyrexian artifact creature? What the hell? Tap, transform target incubator token you control. I don't understand this card. So hold on, 3 and then X is whatever you paid here? So you have to keep track of what the X is? Transforms into... Or does X become its power? I really don't even understand this card. I started the show with Phyrexian Dreadnought. Anyway, I'm going to assume this qualifies for the show, but I don't even know how the card works. Alright, moving on. We've got Michael. Michael with a super chat. Apocalypse Hydra. Apocalypse. Apaca. So what, this Hydra is going to survive the end of the world? We got a green-red X 0/0 Hydra. Enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. If X is 5 or more, it enters the battlefield with an additional X +1/+1 counters on it. So you really want to get... You really want to be paying 7 mana for this thing. And it's got... But wait, there's more. For 2 mana, remove a +1/+1 counter from Apocalypse Hydra. Oh, and it becomes like a Walking Ballista. That is a very expensive Walking Ballista. You might as well just play Walking Ballista. No. Okay, so we did get... Oh, did we do X? Yeah, we can do X spells. So long as the... I would say we could do X spells, but the X needs to be big. I really like this card because it specifies X needs to be 5 or more to get the payoff. So Genesis Hydra, is it going to be big or what? So the Genesis Hydra sort of sucks. It's like a green X, but you can choose... X can be like basically anything that you want it to be. I'm gonna allow it because you super chatted, so I'm gonna be nice to the super chatters. When you cast the spell, reveal the top X cards of your library. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then shuffle the rest into your library. The Hydra enters the battlefield with X+1/+1 counters on it. Because you can pay 1 if you want. You know, you can pay 2. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be that big. Treox, Thing in the Ice. Boy, does this card basically is cheap and stays cheap. Just takes a little, but it is some work. We have a 2-mana 0/4 with Defender. Comes into play with 4 ice counters on it, but when you cast instants or sorceries, you remove all the ice counters. So you just have to build the deck with, it's a build around card, people. It's a build around card. So after all the ice counters are removed, you flip it into the Awoken Horror, and it bounces all non-horror creatures to their owner's hands. Good card, though. Nice card. Alright, how about Crowcore Games here in the house? Svella. The Ice Shaper. I'll determine that. Alright, we got 3 mana for a 2/4 Troll Warrior. Pay 3, tap, create a colorless snow artifact creature token named Icy Manolith. With tap, add, oh, you make Manoliths. And for 8 mana, tap, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may cast a spell from among them without paying the mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. No, okay, this definitely counts. That is a very cheap mana cost. That is a gigantic ability. But at least this card actually works its way to that ability. You can pay 3 mana to ramp yourself up. So it does work in that capacity. Solemnity and Thing. What is this thing? I don't think this I don't know what you mean. Anyway, maybe you're trying to combo it off with another card. Yeah, Snow Danger. That's right. Omik, Dance of the Manse. Let's get the English version. Dance of the Manse. Blue, white, with X. Return up to X target artifact and or non-aura enchantment cards, each with mana value X or less, from your graveyard to the battlefield. We all know how much people love reviving all their dead stuff. Why be proactive when you can be reactive to your opponent's reactive cards? Am I right? I hate these cards, but I know they're really popular. If X is 6 or more, those permanents are 4/4 creatures in addition to their other types. What if... Hold on, with mana value... What if they were small creatures, though? Are we not demoting them? But anyway, okay, so for 8 mana, you got a 4/4 army. Alright, Super Chats. We're gonna go to... Blake. Blake's back again. Ormandel. Was that a new one? Ormandel. Profane Prince, Westvale Abbey. Oh, you mean this thing? Oh, you're talking... Oh, yeah, this creature. Alright, so it's a land. I like this land. You tap, add colorless mana. You can make 1/1 clerics, but it also has the ability pay 5, tap, sacrifice 5 creatures. So they all go to the dumpster, transform Westvale Abbey, then untap it. And you get a 9/7 flying lifelink indestructible and haste creature. So yeah, you can play this, sack 5 creatures, and boom, you got this guy. Good stuff. How often does anyone pull this off, by the way? I don't even think this has been pulled off against me, even in competitive events. Boulder with the Super Chat. Keep up the good work, Nikachu. Love what you do. Croxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. Yeah, this guy is, actually, it's not too bad. I mean, you at least get, it's like a sorcery, 2 mana, make your opponent discard a card. But the real cost comes from exiling all the cards in your graveyard and an additional 4 mana. So it's not, so it's really like, it looks like a 2 mana 6/6, but in actuality, it's a 6 mana exile, what is it, 5 other cards from your graveyard, 6/6. So you do have to pay 6 mana over time. So that's fair. It's like a primeval Titan. It is, well, they are giants, so you are paying the 6 mana just in installments as the game goes on. What does Christopher have here? Ludovic's Test Subject. Okay, it's a 2 mana 0/3 with Defender. 2 mana, put a hatchling counter on Ludovic's test subject. Then if there are 5 or more hatchling counters on it, remove them all and transform it. So you have to pay 10 mana? We start off with 2 mana, then we have to pay an additional 10 mana just to get a 13/13 Trampler. That's unlucky, I guess. It's going to be an unlucky number for... Do we pay 13 in total? Oh, we don't. Should have started off at 3 mana, then you paid an additional 10 mana, so you paid 13 to get the 13/13. But it works. Wow, some real crap. Alright, what do we have next? We've got... all these cards are going to be crap. Would Helix Pinnacle count? I guess so. From Joseph Johnson. Alright, we start off with 1 mana. It's got Shroud. Pay X. Put X tower counters on Helix Pinnacle at the beginning of your upkeep. If there are 100 or more tower counters on this thing, you win the game. So you effectively have to pay 101 mana. Yeah, so it looks cheap, but actually it's not. Crowcore Games, thank you so much for your super chat. Svella Ice, did we do Svella? Yeah, we did Svella. Well, I did these all in a random, awkward order. Did I get everyone? Yeah, we did this one, this one, this one. All right. Okay, I think I'm back on... I'm back on track. Helix Pinnacle. All right, we got Joseph. Joseph's back again. Orochi. The Hatchery. Oh, XX. Okay, when, Orochi Hatchery enters the battlefield with X charge counters on it. Pay 5, tap. Put a 1/1 green snake creature token onto the battlefield for each charge counter on Orochi Hatchery. This actually is incredibly expensive. You could get in for 2, and then now pay 5 to get a 1/1. Or you could pay... What would make this worth it? You probably have to pay it for 8? Probably 8 mana. So you can pay 5 tap, get 4 1/1 creatures. I think that would even the odds. Okay, a lot of people were for the pacts. The Pact of Negations. Thank you very much, Brandon Hall and Table Knight. Okay, this is 0 mana, counters a spell, but you better pay the casting cost, or you... Oh, where's my sound effect? You better pay the what's it called? 5 mana at next turn, or you're dead. This card is very dangerous to your health. So it looks like 0 mana, but it's really at least 5. It's delayed. The repo... What is... The Magic the Gathering Mafia gonna come for their mana. If they don't get their mana, they're gonna come for your life. Alright, we got Roran, Eater of Days. Isn't this a really expensive card? Oh, it's not. It is 4 mana. It's a 4 mana 9/8 Flying Trample. It comes into play. Give your opponent 2 more turns. Oh my god. Sorry, well, you basically skip your 2 next turns. So this is even worse in Commander, where you give everyone else, like, 2 turns. Allow me to do... Basically, you're not even giving anyone anything. You're just basically... No, yeah, you skip your next 2 turns. Oh, it's brutally awful. Yeah. Read the fine print. When Mirrodin's varied civilizations developed ways to fight the levelers, Memnarch upped the stakes. Yeah, up the stupidity as well. Next up we got Coulter Chase. Thanks so much for the suit. Vandal Blast. Why you like Vandal Blast? If Mycosynth Lattice is already on the field, it might cost you your friends on top of 6 mana. Oh god. Okay, so if Mycosynth Lattice is on the battlefield, everything's an artifact, and Vandal Blast says, oh, 1 red, destroy target artifact you don't control. But you can overload it for an additional 5 mana, destroy all artifacts you don't control. And with Mycosynth Lattice on the battlefield, it's basically, it's a one-sided obliterate. Or it's obliterate that doesn't hit you. King Ginger with the, what's it called? Finale of Devastation? Does this count? Oh, if X is enormous. Yeah, okay, so we have a green, X, search your library, and graveyard. I sometimes forget about that. You can pull creatures back from your graveyard. With converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If X is 10 or more, however, your creatures get +10, +X, and gain haste until end of turn. But usually it's not a problem. It's for those infinite mana freaks out there. You have infinite mana, you have no problem. Leveler's a good... This card isn't even any good. Or sorry, I shouldn't say that. I mean, it's a combo card with Thassa's Oracle. 5 mana, 10/10. Comes into play, remove your library from the game. It's not even in position to, like, kill anybody. It's like, alright, you have a 10/10 in play, but you have no cards left in your deck. Now what? When they made this card, did it have any purpose? Like, I guess they do that every so often. They make a card that's like really weird but really bad, and they just hope it's going to interact with something one day. Yeah, it doesn't even have haste, so it's like pointless. I mean, I don't know. Giving a 5 mana haste creature probably is a problem. Would Blue Sun's Twilight count? Blue X. Gain control of target creature with mana value X or less. If X is 5 or more, create a token that's a copy of that creature instead. Yeah, I think that counts. You gotta spend 7 mana on this damn thing. This card is solely for... I know. But, like, my question is, when Leveler was printed, was there a combo? Like, did that even exist? Maybe Laboratory... I don't know when Laboratory Maniac became a thing. What came first, the Laboratory Maniac or the Leveler? Alright, we got Yo Little Ted! One of my favorites. Heroes Remembered. Need the English one. Okay, we got a... This is an expensive card. It's a white, 6 generic mana. Oh, it's got Suspend for 10, though. Okay, that counts. I will count that. So you can pay 1 and wait 10 turns. What do you even get for 10 turns? You got 20 life? Get out of here. That's so awful. Or you could pay 9 mana. Anyway, it looks cheap, but not actually. Or I guess, or maybe, is this like the other way around? I'm gonna count this. I think suspend cards can count. Like, you're gonna pay the 1 mana, but it takes forever for this thing for you to get your payoff. You'll be dead by then. For sure, you'll be dead. Did we do this one already? I'm getting these super chats and all these weird random orders. We did Croxa. All right, Jacob, thank you so much for your super chat. Exponential growth. Maybe this actually, I don't know, maybe this doesn't qualify. Whatever, I'm gonna allow it. Exponential growth. We got a green XX until end of turn, double target creature's power X times. But the X can easily be 2, and there's nothing special about that. I'm gonna disqualify this one. Until end of turn, double target creature's power X times. Even getting it for 2 is pretty powerful. That's insane. Okay, you heard the sound. We're gonna look at more cheap cards that are actually expensive, but we've gotta first thank our sponsors, FusionGamingOnline.com. The inventory for all those cheap cards. If you need to get the Phyrexia or Phyrexian Dreadnoughts and so on, you know where to go get them. You get them at FusionGamingOnline.com. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu, though. So get those Phyrexian Dreadnoughts 5% off all your purchases. And everything else. And it supports the channel. And it's good. I like it when you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Does anyone ever use Mana Traders? I use Mana Traders all the damn time. I love to experiment in Legacy and Modern. If you need your 1 rings, I don't know, get them at Mana Traders and then wait in line for them because they're a very popular card. Anyway, you want to support the channel on Magic the Gathering Online? You could use the Mana Trader service using my my link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_1YA. Okay, I know I'm gonna justify these suspend cards. Where's the suspend card? Oh no, I guess I erased the Greater Gargadon. Okay, I'm justifying the Greater Gargadon. Oh no, I didn't do Greater Gargadon. What did we do? Heroes Remembered. Because it costs, even though the mana cost is enormous, The suspend cost is very cheap, but you have to wait forever to actually get this thing online. So it is like cheap, but expensive anyway. How does... Everyone's mentioning Living End. I don't know if I count this one. Oh, the suspend is enormous. And it's terrible. Okay, I'll qualify this. So if you want to exile all the creatures in the you want to do the switcheroo of the creatures on the in the graveyard and the battlefield, you have to pay 4 mana, then wait 3 more turns. Not quite 0 mana value. Cascader, well, hey, I have seen people suspend Living End. I don't know if they won the game after that, but it has happened. Remember, you can literally, it's not an uncastable card. You literally can cast it. You just have to do it the hard way. Okay, what next we got? We got Crowcore Games with Elephant Grass. What does this even do? Okay, green. Oh, it has cumulative upkeeps. Okay, it's 1 green. You have to pay the upkeep of 1. Black creatures cannot attack you. Non-black creatures cannot attack you unless their controller pays an additional 2 mana for each attacking creature. So what are the black creatures afraid of grass? They just don't want to go through a field? It's not swampy at all. All right, King Ginger with the super chat. Dark Depths. Yeah, this doesn't even do anything. It's literally a bump on the log on the battlefield. You have to remove 10 ice counters from it, 3 mana each. So is that 30 mana? You have to spend 30 mana to turn this into a 20/20 black avatar creature token flying indestructible. It might as well have just said, this is the same thing as the Colossus Hammer. This card would have been just equally as powerful if they didn't have this ability in the middle. Because it's irrelevant. I mean, maybe it's not entirely irrelevant. I guess people who trigger infinite mana can just remove all the ice counters on this thing. But in general, you usually just cheat you cheat this thing in play, either with Thespian Stage, the, what's it called? Hex Mage, the Vampire Hex Mage, remove all the counters on it. The text in the middle just is completely pointless and worthless. Figure of Destiny. I love that suggestion. That's a great one. 1 mana, 1/1, and it's deceptive. They have these cards in Pioneer, and they sort of suck, in my opinion. All right, for a Boros, you get a 1/1, but that's not all. For an additional cost of another Boros, it becomes a 2/2 Kitskin Spirit. But that's not all. If you make a down payment of 3 Boros, Figure of Destiny, if it's a spirit, becomes a Kithkin Spirit Warrior with power and toughness and 4/4. But if you slap down 6 mana right now in 3 easy payments, Figure of Destiny is if it's a warrior, it becomes a Kithkin Spirit Warrior Avatar with base power and toughness 8/8, flying and first strike. So how much mana is that in the end? It's 10 mana. After 10 mana, you get an 8/8 flying first striker. Card is awful. I don't know, I guess it saw standard play at a time, but that's about it. Alright, what do we got next? We got Platonic Liquid. Titan Forge. One of your favorites. 3 mana, pay 3, tap, put a charge counter on Titan Forge, remove 3 charge counters from Titan Forge, and tap it. Put a 9/9 colorless Golem artifact creature token onto the battlefield. That's interesting. So you're basically, for as much mana as you put on this guy, you get a 9/9 creature. Charge it up for 9, get a 9/9. Over 3 turns. Good one. Blake Mamba. What super chat do I give you? I'll give you this one. I'll give you a better one than that one. Ultramarines Honor Guard. Ultra. What the hell is this? Oh, this is one of those 40k cards. All right, we got a white 3 generic 2/2. Squad 2. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may pay 2 any number of times when this creature enters the battlefield to create that many tokens that are copies of it. Oh, God. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. So if you pay the squad 1,000,000 times, or at least let's say 3 times, which you're going to want to do, it's basically kicker for extra creatures. You buff everything up, so you get 3. You have 3 5/5s. And on top of that, all your other creatures get enormous. Great suggestion. Jacob Thune with the super chat. Thank you so much for Everflowing Chalice. We did that one. I'll look at it again just for you. And I guess the way this show is going, we're going to qualify. This is going to qualify. You could pay it for 2, but you're probably going to pay it for a lot more. It will tempt you. The chalice will be tempting. Mana Vault? I'm not good at... I think up front you get what you want. It's basically a ritual. It's colorless ritual. 1 mana for 3 mana. Yeah, you gotta pay. You might have to pay some more in the future to get it untapped, but outside of that, I think you're getting what you want. Mana Vault if unlucky, or Mana Crypt if you're unlucky. What is a blackbird saying? Unholy Officiant. Unholy Officiant. What is this? White for a 1 white for a 1/1. Sorry, 1/2 with vigilance. It's a vampire cleric. Pay 5 mana, put a counter on Unholy Officiant. Wow, this card sucks. This is so bad. Man, we need to have like another one of those like the worst commons in Magic the Gathering shows again. This is bad even for draft. Oh, it has vigilance. You know what? I don't think that's gonna make up for a lot of ground here. You have to pay 5 mana to turn this into a 2/3 vigilant creature. I mean, I guess it gets bigger from there. This is awful. It counts though. It absolutely counts. Man, nobody. No, okay. So what's a good leveler? Lighthouse Chronologist. I hope this wasn't stolen from a super chat. Did anyone super chat this? Just gonna look very quickly. Nope. Okay, good. Okay, we got a blue 1 generic level up creature. It's a 1/3. So basically a really crappy wall. And if you, this is not the most expensive level up creature to be honest, and the payoff is insane. Although if you get too close, you're gonna be a huge target. All right, level up for a single blue. You get to level 4 to 6. It's a 2/4 creature. That still does nothing. But once you get to level 7, at the beginning of each end step, if it's not your turn, take an extra turn after that one. That's broken. Wow, it's 13 bucks. Is this card just not good because it's just so hard to get online and just makes you like a giant soup? Like once you start getting level 4, level 5, I mean everyone's gonna throw everything they can at you. 1 extra turn after everyone else's turn. Supremely broken. Okay, Vulcan Gray with the Greater Gargadon. Okay, that's what you can suspend it for a single red. But you're gonna wait 10 turns to get this thing in play. Oh yeah, this actually has a little bit of a good catch to it. Or not even a catch. Like, sack an artifact, creature, or land, remove a time counter from Greater Gargadon. Activate only if Greater Gargadon is suspended. So you could sack your board for this 9/7. By the way, the way suspend cards work, once it comes into play, it has haste, which is weird. I don't understand why that's the case. I think that's just stupid. Otherwise, it should just say haste on the creature. All suspend creatures should have haste. Redco! Vorpal Sword. Tell me about it. We got a black! What the hell is this ability for 8 mana? Alright, it's a black equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Death Touch. Not bad. Okay, so you can equip for 2. That's perfectly reasonable. But for 8, what do we get for 8 mana? Until end of turn, Vorpal Sword gains whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player. That player loses the game! Oh my goodness. Okay, now I understand. It probably should have been 12 mana. Very expensive. So satisfying to win with it. I'll attack you with 8 mana up. Would you like to block? No? Alright, you die. Not only... Yeah, there's... Who is this? Vraska? Did Vraska's head get cut off? Is that a real MTG? This is a real MTG card. This thing's out of this world. 8 mana, just destroy... It basically destroy target player. The player has lost the game. Alright, next up, we did Mystic Remora. We'll do it again just for you, Blake Mamba. Mystic Remora. be honest, I think it's still pretty cheap. Isn't like the default strategy when someone plays a Mystic Remora, just don't do anything, just wait for it to leave the battlefield, then spew your hand? It would almost seem like there is no point to playing into this card. All right, Blake, you got another one. What's your second choice? Transcendent Master. That is a leveler upper. All right, we got 3 mana. Level up for 1 mana. It starts out as a 3/3. Oh my god, we have to level this thing up big time. 6 mana just to get it to a 6/6. We need 12 mana total to get it to a 9/9. You know what would have made level up really good? If you could just do it at instant speed. If you could do that at instant speed, like, you know, the other cards. But because it's sorcery speed, yeah, those cards were so unplayable. So unplayable. Too much mana. Too much. See you later, Gray Fox. Okay, what does AK-47? Aggravated Assault. Very fitting card suggestion given your name. Okay, we've got a 3 mana enchantment, but you have to pay an additional 5 mana. Untap all creatures you control after this phase. There's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Play this ability only any time you could play a sorcery. Just gotta let everyone know ahead of time. Shark Laser Boy, Earthquake Dragon. You love your Earth. What the hell is this? It's 15 mana. It's like Emrakul. Spell costs X less to cast for X is the total amount of dragons you control. This is actually the opposite. This is expensive cards are actually cheap. So, great suggestion. Wrong show. Rob Boy loves the level up cards. Larry, what do you got for me? Doubling Cube. 2 mana. You have to pay 3 mana, tap double the amount of each type of mana in your mana pool. To be honest, this is not that expensive. You know, if you could pay 2 mana, it's not going to get too hard to get the 3 mana. Juju Bubble? Don't you just let this thing just get sacked? This is very expensive. Say, okay, you got 1 mana with cumulative upkeep 1. If you play a card, you also bury your Juju Bubble. And you... Okay, this is how expensive this is. You need enough mana to pay the upkeep. You also need enough mana to gain a single life. Oh my god, Juju Bubble. The card that just keeps on giving for these shows. Alright, what do we got next? We got, Scott. Thank you so much, Scott. Rite of Replication. Oh yeah. That one gonna cost you. Oh my goodness, that's a huge kicker cost. 4 mana. Create a token that's a copy of target creature, but if you pay 5 mana, create 5 of those tokens instead. Make a copy for 4 mana, but it gets higher. Alright, we got Michael Gonzalez. Merritt. Will the Wild. As a commander, you need to cast it a lot of times for it to do something. Okay. So you have for 3 mana, it's a 0/0. Enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. Ah! So really you need to get Marith to die, go back to the command zone, and then recast with the commander tax. You can also pay X, remove X +1/+1 counters from Marith. Choose one, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, or Marith deals X damage to target creature or player, or blah 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 blah. Or put an XX green elemental creature token onto the battlefield. That's a really creative way to say, yeah, this card's cheap, but really, actually, it's expensive. If you want it to do what you want it to do. Rob Boy. Oh, I have a couple freebies on me. All right, Rob Boy, it's on the house. These next 2 are on the house from Rob Boy. We'll get something from Nalia. Jaren. Corrupted Bishop. Okay, it's a 3 mana 2/3. Enters the battlefield or another non-token human you control dies. You'll lose a life, you get a 1/1 human creature token. Pay 2. Target human you control gains lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you have exactly 13 life, very, very specific, you can pay 6 mana. If you do, we transform our Jaren into Ormondel again! Oh my god, it's Ormondel. Did I hear the cost of 13 in some way? That must have been Ormondel. All right, another freebie from Rot Boy. Gonna go to LN Chen Gaming, Baron Glory. I think these are just expensive, right? Baron Glory. Oh no, but you have to sack the board. This is not the cheapest thing, but I will admit that if you have no permanents in play, that's a really high cost. So 6 mana to win the game seems very reasonable. But 6 mana plus also annihilate everything on the board that you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control no permanents other than Baron Glory, and you have to have no cards in hand, you win the game. It's got to be at your upkeep, so you have to discard your hand by that turn. Empty your hand and obliterate. All right, next super chat. We've got... I'm just flooded with the super chats. Thank you so much. Vulcan Gray. I'm running out of, like, sound effects for you guys. Alchemist's Gambit. What do we got here for 3 mana? 3 mana. Oh god, the cleave cost. Okay, 3 mana. Take an extra turn after this one. During that turn, damage can't be prevented. At the beginning of that turn's end step, you lose the game. Exile Alchemist's Gambit. However, if you pay... You may cast this spell for its cleave cost. So if I just pay 7 mana, we don't lose the game. We just take an extra turn. Take an extra turn after this one. During that turn, damage can't be prevented. So it's just a 7 mana extra turn card. Yep. It looked cheap up front. Hey, it's nothing wrong with, like, paying 3 mana also to get 1 extra turn and then die after that. You're going to pay 3 with the intention of killing them. GWJ, thanks so much for your super chat. Love the flavor of Vorpal Sword. In D&D, if you... Oh, did we do this one? Did you get sniped off? Or did I do this one already? Or maybe you were the one who did the Vorpal Sword. Oh no, Redco got it. Okay, what do you have to say about it, though? If in D&D, if you crit... Whatever the hell that means. Roll a 20 on a D20. That's what critting is. Oh, they crit on me. With it, it insta-kills anything. Ah, gotcha. Alright, so a little bit of D&D lore on the Vorpal Sword. Augie with a super chat. Ascended Spirit. I think, is this the card that I hate? I played Pioneer Spirits. Yeah, this card sucks. I was not pleased with this card. Blue 1/1. And it looks appealing. You just pay 2 snow. And you can do this at instant speed, by the way. Becomes a 2/3 spirit, but doesn't even fly. Then for 3 snow, and this snow, by the way, is backbreaking. You cannot play things like Mutavault in the deck, or you can, but like the deck is just really unstable with any non-snow card you have in your non-snow you have in your mana base. If Ascended Spirit is a warrior, put a flying counter on it, and it becomes a Spirit Warrior Angel with base power and toughness 4/4. Then you can pay another 4 mana. If Ascended Spirit is an angel, put 2 counters on it, and +1/+1 counters, and it gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Good luck getting it that far. Good luck. Very, very rare. Very, very hard. Also not really worth it. So you can't, yeah, it doesn't even, does it fly at some point? No, it doesn't. It's an angel with no wings. What BS that is. What we got for me, Steve Cooper? Shorekeeper. Keeper of the Shore. We got a blue 0/3 creature. Oh my god! Better play 8 mana to draw 3 cards. Yeah, that's a late game play. Okay, I'm gonna get it out of everyone's system. Black Lotus. By the way, this doesn't count. Because we don't count the financial aspect of the cards. The 0 mana, 20 grand artifact tap, add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. I like that one. Hex Drinker. Same thing. Yeah, these level up cards. That's why a lot of these level up cards, they don't really see play. A lot of people thought this was going to be a big card. Because it's a single green for 2/1, which is not bad. And hey, getting the level 3, which costs 1 mana, protection from instants, that's pretty good. And it's a 4/4 chonker. And then when you get it to level 8, it has protection from everything. And it gets even bigger. At 6/6. But yeah, just costs too much. ends up 9 mana for a 6/6 pro everything. Just not good in Modern. Not good anywhere. Okay, let's look at them super chats. We've got Trevor Peebles loves the background music. Blink Moth Infusion. Oh god, I gotta get through them super chats or this show is not gonna end. Blink Moth Infusion, 14 mana. This is an expensive card that costs cheap. It's the opposite. Instant affinity for artifacts, untap all artifacts. So good idea, wrong show. But thank you very much, Trevor. I really appreciate it. Platonic Liquid. Hell Vault? Is it really 1 L? 3 mana, legendary artifact. Pay 1 tap, exile target creature you control. Pay 7, exile target creature you don't control. When Hell Vault is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return all cards exiled with it to the battlefield under their owner's control. Oh god, that sucks. So you start exiling your opponent's creatures and eventually they could just blow this thing up and get them all back. That is a lot of mana though, to exile your opponent's stuff. Can't even fly. What am I going to give you for a super? Oh, let's give you that one. Bitter Blossom looks like 2 mana but costs you the game. I like that. I like that justification. Bitter Blossom, 2 mana. Maybe the commander players can't relate to this one, but when you're playing a 20 life, you know, 1v1 format, this 2 mana thing will slowly eat away at your life total. And by the way, it's not even the most aggressive card. You don't even get a creature the turn it comes into play. You get exactly 0 creatures when it comes into play. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life, you get a 1/1 flyer. Slowly eats away at your life total, then you're dead. We did Colossus Hammer, but that's a great suggestion, but we done that one. Okay, next we got Redco. Thank you very much for the super chat. Bantu's Last Reckoning. Triple black, destroy all creatures. Lands you control, don't untap during your next untap step. That is quite the catch. Better hope that you don't play with counter magic. Hopefully you didn't need that mana. It's more important to destroy the creatures than to keep the mana on the battlefield. Piotr with the super chat. Elriver Flowing Chalice is worse. Oh, it's not as big as Astral Cornucopia. This is the real mana sink. Alright, you could pay it for 3 mana, but if you want to go beyond that, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. There's a battlefield with X charge counters on it. So this is the daddy of Everflowing Chalice. Say hello to daddy. Tap, add a color. Add 1 mana. Sorry, choose a color. Well, you can choose a different color every time. Add 1 mana of that color for each charge counter on the Astral Cornucopia. King Ginger. Goblin Firebomb. 1 mana. This Flash? Pay 7, tap, sacrifice Goblin Firebomb, destroy target permanent. It's gone. That's a crazy... didn't even know this card existed. So basically, if you have a lot of mana at your disposal, you just flash destroy anything that you want. Great late game play. Triox! With a fill in the blank. Invoker of Despair. Oh, Invoker of anything? Invoker of... nothing. Invoker... I don't know what this is. Nothing. I think there's some sort of, like, what's it called? There's a cycle of invoke something. Invoke? Is it invoke invoke despair? I can't remember. I don't know if it, because these are all just like relatively expensive cards. The Zendikar Invoker cycle, pretty bad and expensive. Wild Heart Invoker. Okay, let's look at Wild Heart Invoker. If I can find this card. Ah, yes! These cards. This came from Eldrazi. I played with this card before in draft. 4 mana for a 4/3 creature. However, pay 8. Target creature. This isn't even a good one. Gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. Where's the flying one? There's a flying one. The flying one was the most busted. There we go. The Frostwind Invoker. Pay 8 creatures you control gain flying until end of turn. Fly over all the Eldrazi's. Yeah, all the Invoker cycles are expensive. Quite wild. All right, we got Jacob. Jacob, thank you so much for the super chat. Flailing Soldier. We got a red for a 2/2. Was this like a crappy Morphling or something? Pay 1. Flailing Soldier gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Any player may play this ability. Pay 1. Flailing Soldier gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Any player may play this ability. This is insane. So like you can try to buff this thing up, but then people can fight to buff it down. That is a really cool card. You could also... That's such a political card too, because someone else could also help you buff this card to beat up on somebody else. Very, very, very political card. I've never heard of this one, and I've played around this time, around the masks block era. Very cool card. So yeah, you might be fighting. You gotta be basically, whoever has more mana wins the game. It's pay to win in terms of mana. Okay, let's look at some freebies here. Tarmogoyf, it's a 2 mana do nothing. It's literally 2 mana. It's as cheap as it gets. Sorcerer of the Fang. We got a black 1 generic 1/3 human wizard. Pay 6, tap. Sorcerer of the Fang deals 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Daddy is a rock? What is this? Everything, everywhere, all at once? Huh? I don't get it. Maybe that's in reference to a card that we've already passed. Okay, Rona's Last Reckoning. Rona's Last Reckoning. All them Reckoning cards have some huge cost to it. Okay, it's a green. Create a 5/4 green snake creature token. Lands you control don't untap during your next control. Lands you control don't untap during your next untap step. Surprised this card doesn't see more play. It's not that bad. What if I go turn 1 Ether Vial, turn 2 Rona's Last Stand? Like, what do I care that my lands don't untap next turn? I got my damn Ether Vial. And I got a 5/4 snake on the battlefield. That thing's a huge chunk. That's huge. Huge. Maybe I have Mana Dorks too. All right, we got King Ginger's Oblivion Stone. Okay, we got some super chats to get through before the show's over. 3 mana artifact, pay 4, tap, put a fate counter on target permanent, but you really actually have to pay an additional 5 mana, tap, sack the stone, destroy all non-land permanents without a fate counter on it, then remove all fate counters from all permanents. Very expensive card. Only played in Tron because it's so damn expensive. Platonic Liquid, thank you so much for your super chat. Sapperling Storm. Also, thanks for keeping me entertained in the hospital. You're welcome. You know, it's funny you say that. I got some other messages from other people being entertained while they're in the hospital. The Sapperling Swarm. Sapperling... S? Burst Cluster? I bet it's one of these things. Which one is it? Which one has like a bit... Is it Sapperling Migration? Or Okay, let's look at a few of them. It might be a Sapperling Symbiosis. 4 mana. You can play Sapperling Symbiosis anytime you can play an instant if you pay 2 more to play it. Oh no, that's just a small kicker cost. It must be this one, Sapperling Migration. Is there Sapperling Swarm? Is that not a real card? Sapperling Swarm. It says it doesn't exist. Sprout Swarm? Oh, Sprout Swarm. Okay, we got there. We got there, Platonic Liquid. We had a little bit of trial and error, but we got there. All right, we got 2 mana, instant with Convoke, with buyback of 3. Okay, put a 1/1 green sapling creature token into play. I can't imagine how this card works. Okay, so you basically... Can you use Convoke for the buyback? So basically just tap 5 creatures and then put a creature onto the battlefield? You'd be tapping them creatures. All right, we got also Rot Boy. Thank you very much for your super chat. Any miracle cards like Entreat the Angels? I would consider this the opposite. These are expensive. Hold on, Entreat the Angels. This is the opposite. This is like expensive cards that are actually cheap. Yeah, it pays for itself for this last one. I mean, eventually. Pays with compound interest. Eventually it'll go infinite. How many creatures do you need to go infinite? 15? I guess 15 and you go infinite. Yeah, Miracle's backwards for this. It's an expensive card that can be cheap. But thank you so much. Well, you know what, Rot Boy? We'll spiritually give this to Anna. Idol of Oblivion. Rot Boy loves donating super chats to other people. It's the Robin Hood of Coffee and MTG. 2 mana, artifact, tap, draw a card, activate only if you created a token this turn. Oh, that's pretty sweet. 8 mana, tap, sacrifice this thing. A 10/10 Eldrazi creature token. Does it have Annihilate? Should have gave it Annihilator or something. All right. Well, that's it for Coffee and MTG today. Thanks so much for joining me. If you want to be here for the show, you got to be here Monday to Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks to everyone who supports the channel. If you're a member on YouTube, a patron on Patreon, or you donate with Super Chats to be part of the show, I really appreciate it. And because of that, I'll be here every morning for all of you. So thank you also to the people who show up here in the morning, like Zanzi, LN Chan, we got Erlin Bread, King Ginger, Toads, Mark Zilla, Rod Boy, Steve Cooper, Dem, Huge Ness. I love Ness. We got Bread, Good Freak, Anna, Platonic Liquid. Who else? Christopher B, Dem. Oh, we got everyone here in the coffee house. So as usual, my coffee crew, you are the show. Keep bringing up them coffees, and we'll keep bringing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will